So hello fellow Earthlings, this is Earthling 6455463728, and I wanted to talk about a mechanic story, one of those bad stories where you realize that you've been taken advantage of. This story began on my way to work one day. It was when I was in university, and I was had a job that was some distance away from where I was going to school. So I was driving on my way to school, and not on my way to work, sorry. And just as I was approaching my where I had to get off of the expressway, I realized that the car was not powering itself anymore. Like it has lost power. Not to say that the engine turned off, it wasn't. It was something else that was going on. And whatever was going on in the car, whatever mechanism it was at fault. The car was not getting the energy from the engine to move itself forward. Luckily for me, the off-ramp was right there, so it was thankfully in quotes, somewhat easy to just glide down the off-ramp and onto the road that was perpendicular to the expressway. So there I am, and I'm at a loss. I don't know anything about cars at this point. This was the first car that I had, and I didn't have anybody to call because I was away at university, especially in that area. This was some distance away from my school and where I lived, and the only people that I knew in this area were the people that I worked for. Here I am, I'm supposed to be at work, and I don't know exactly what to do. So as it is, I guess I started looking around to see if I could find a mechanic not too far from where my car stopped, which is at the bottom of the off-ramp where, it was able to go as far as it was able to go under the power of gravity. And then I guess I must have turned off the engine, and bam, here I was. There was a mechanic right next to where, or really close to where the car not shut down, but came to rest, I guess is the best word. So I went inside the mechanic's place, and I asked somebody, and foolishly, this is the part where I was really stupid, and only afterwards I understood. And I've done some pretty stupid things in my life, things that I should not have needed to do in order to realize that they were not a good idea. If I just thought a little bit, I probably would have been able to avoid it maybe. But when you're in this situation, you don't often realize that, hey, maybe I need a quiet moment here in order to think clearly and then make a decision. Anyway, in front of the mechanic, I started listing my alternatives, and I began saying stuff like, well, it might cost me $200 to tow it back to the area where I go to school, where I live, and then I don't know what the price of that is going to be over there. So then the guy just burst out, $500. And I'm like, what? $500? Okay. And I was not, as I might have mentioned, I was not in a habit of shopping around. I probably should have, but I don't even know that I had the means to shop around at that point. So here it is. I'm kind of stuck, and I probably need a tow if I want to get this to somebody else. I don't have anyone else to call who has experience with cars or a different mechanic or anything like that. So I'm just like, Okay, well, he said $500. So let me try and call my office, the place where I work, and see if they can give me an advance for $500 so that I'll be able to get this thing fixed, hopefully within that day. And at the end of the day, um, I'll be able to drive back home in the car. So, yeah, he decides he's gonna. I tell him, okay, fine, $500, and I guess someone from work, they come and they pick me up. It's not too far from where I got off the ramp, and I spend the day at work. It's a good bit of money that he wanted in terms of how much I was getting paid, but I got the advance, and they gave it to me. I came back in the evening, and all of this time I'm just thinking, I probably didn't handle this the best way that I could. I'm not thinking really that I should have shopped around or anything like that. I'm just thinking that it's just funny the way that he just shouted out $500, So anyway, I come back and he's like, "Hey, I fixed this thing up great. Everything works fantastic. You're not gonna have any problems with this. Da 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 da." He's like really like happy, and he's also probably a little bit drunk. I guess I'm thinking to myself, this guy probably took me and is so happy with himself that he just went and got himself drunk after fixing my car. So, he's like so happy. He's like, "Listen, anytime you need any help, any kind of car work, any of your friends or anything like that, I'm right here. Just call me, whatever." And I did not feel good driving out of the place. The other people who were there, because it wasn't just the one guy, I guess there were other mechanics as well, I just felt that they were looking at me thinking, what a rube. What a fool that this guy took advantage of you and blah blah blah. And I used to get a lot of junk mail in my mailbox, and some of the junk mail would be about the part that the guy said was the problem and that he replaced. And I never wanted to look at the junk mail at all after I got the car repaired. That was one thing I was not in any way eager to do. But eventually, maybe after about a year or something, I figured, okay, fine, I'm going to take a look at the prices that these people are saying that the repair costs. And, granted, maybe they didn't include parts. Maybe that was the labor. Maybe, whatever. When I finally looked at the price of the repair, it was $150 that it cost to repair the part that the guy had charged me $500 to repair. And I don't think that it hit me in the stomach as bad as it could have if I'd checked the price maybe the next day or the next week or something like that. It was in the past, it was gone. But that was one of many instances where I realized after the fact that, the mechanic kind of took advantage of me. I would like to say in the same way that he might take advantage of a young woman or something like that, because as a guy, there's nobody to look to, there's nobody to call, there's nobody that's gonna come and help you and save you. You have to be responsible for yourself. That's what women look to us for. So here I was being taken advantage of for $350 at the most. Maybe maybe just $300 that he took from me for no good reason, except for the fact that I was listing out alternatives when I could have just looked for another mechanic maybe in the area, or just asked somebody at the office if they knew a mechanic, or any number of things I probably could have thought of. But it was the first car that I had, and I didn't have the experience that the government always looks to get 3 quotes. At least, the government that I worked for, they always want to have comparative quotes to make sure that you're getting a good price for whatever it is. Not, well, I say always. Sometimes they didn't, and I think that when they didn't, it was my boss trying to help out somebody that he knew, and I guess maybe a certain percentage of the purchases didn't need those 3 quotes, and but anyway, that's a different topic altogether. But now I know that almost anything, not all, well, yes, almost anything that I'm buying, I should find out what other people price it as. I have had a number of other issues with mechanics, and I know a little bit better, and in certain circumstances I know that I might just have to do the repair myself. So this is mechanic, I don't know what to call it, but Mechanic Horror Stories Part 1, maybe. I think I'll probably give some other horror stories. So you can like or unlike, you can comment, subscribe, and or share. Or of course, you can do nothing. Anyway, peace.